Kia ora Rotorua tonight on City News. Locals will get the chance to see the inside of the new Rotorua police station when the doors are opened for next month's open day. Ngāti Whakaui elder Monty Morrison says he's hopeful dialogue between the council and Te Arawa can only get stronger. And Sport Bay of Plenty have announced the first round of Bay Trust athlete and coach scholarships. Locals will get the chance to see the inside of the new Rotorua police station without having to commit a crime when the doors are opened for next month's open day. The new station was officially blessed last week, with many locals curious to get a look inside the $20 million building. Open days are planned at police stations throughout the country on Saturday, the 14th of June. Long-time concert and event promoter and Ngāti Whakaui elder Monty Morrison says he's hopeful that dialogue between council and Te Arawa will only strengthen as discussions take place on how council can best gain insight from iwi when making crucial decisions about the future of the city and district. Mr Morrison says that the work between council and Te Arawa will be a process and the amalgamation of entities and sub-tribes will be a key aspect to the success of the ongoing partnership.
My view is that the process will certainly follow its way through. I think one of the things for us as a Te Arawa group is that many of our entities and our sub-tribes, Ngāti Whakaue, Ngāti Pakeao, and other commercial entities, Pukeroa, Whata, have relationships already with the council. And I think how they are going to amalgamate those is pretty much a key into one single voice. Notwithstanding those agreements already in place, my personal view, I think there's a lot of work for Te Arawa to do. There's a lot of things for us to do here as Ngāti Whakaue to think about. And I think in the end, I think there will be, I think, a more meaningful, perhaps body or whatever it might be, so that council can have a dialogue with. I'm hopeful that certainly from the comments amongst the Kaumātua leadership groups where I'm in, that certainly the willingness and there's a genuine desire to find a better way to have a more genuine and more meaningful relationship with council.
Rotorua District Council Chief Executive Jeff Williams is confident the organisation has been sharpened to support the community's aspirational vision for the Rotorua District for 2030. Mr Williams says the goal was to create a more efficient, effective and responsive organisation that would enable and navigate in partnership with various communities and stakeholders. Mayor Steve Chadwick endorses the reorganisation, which was called for as part of a public groundswell for change communicated to many elected officials during last year's election campaign. Announced at the press conference last week, Mr Williams confirmed that the changes would contribute $3.5 million towards annual savings. Alan Solomon was at the RDC press conference and spoke with Mr Williams about the proposed savings.
Now, you mentioned there's going to be $3.5 million saving with the loss of these jobs. Is that money going to be reallocated? Is it going to be used for servicing loans, or what's going to happen with it?
No, that money is built into the annual plan. So the annual plan is premised for next year on the fact that we can make $4 million of savings. This will go partly to achieving that, and the remaining savings we'll pick up through other efficiencies.
In sport tonight, Sport Bay of Plenty have announced the recipients of the first round of the 2014-15 Bay Trust Sports Scholarships. These scholarships recognise both athletes and coaches, aiming to support and assist Bay of Plenty sporting talent to achieve on the national and international sporting stage and to allow coaches to develop new skills that can be delivered back to the community. The Rotorua athlete recipients are Connor Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton and Lawrence Court for downhill mountain biking, Dirk Peters and Amber Johnston for cross-country mountain biking, Nathan Johnston for mountain biking, Jodie Allerley and Coral Farkash for gym sports, Kahurangi Robinson and Amanda Landers-Murphy for volleyball. Local sports coaches Wayne Johnston, Sam Thompson, Paul Bedford and Alistair Johnston all received a Bay Trust Coach Scholarship. And to your weather now. Tonight, high cloud with winds tending easterly and an overnight low of 5. Tomorrow, Tuesday, showers clearing in the middle of the day to fine weather and not much wind, a high of 15 and a low of 5. And the outlook for Wednesday, fine with little wind, a high of 15 and a low of 4. And the marine weather forecast for Lake Rotorua, southeast 10 knots and fine. Remember, for program listings and to watch City News again, visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz, or you can see updates on our TV Rotorua Facebook page. Still to come in the show tonight, Darren McGarvey from Flair Marketing talks to us about Rotorua X and some new initiatives happening. We hear about new projects at Sunrise Rotary, and Bruce Quedley tells us about the latest business safety advice.
Well, shared working space is a relatively new idea, and it's a good, sensible economic decision, especially for business owners. Now, here at Fair Marketing, they've introduced the idea to Rotorua, and we're going to head inside and meet Darren McGarvey, who explains more. Hi Darren, good to have you on City News again. Now, the shared working space, or co-working space as you would call it, is relatively new around the globe, but also here in Rotorua. So can you explain exactly what it is?
Sure. The vision was to bring together smaller and new businesses into a space where they can collaborate, build networks, and really just have a dedicated professional environment to work from, rather than typically working from home or out of cafes or restaurants or other places that really aren't that suitable.
Now, obviously you saw a hole in the marketplace, Darren. Was this the first time it's been introduced to Rotorua?
Yes, absolutely. As far as we're aware, this is the first executive co-working space in Rotorua. There's plenty of others that use shared offices, have a shared receptionist or other smaller cubicles, but this is the first formal co-working space.
And how's it been received by local businesses or people coming to use the facilities?
Well, it's funny, because we are the first, it's been a process of educating the market as much as putting it out there. So once we get people through the door, we find that they really understand what it is we're trying to achieve. And it's certainly been slow going, but at the moment we've got 6 tenants using the facilities.
Now let's talk a little bit about the facilities, because obviously there's the coffee machine. I think that's probably the most important thing here.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about that for a moment.
You want to talk about the coffee machine?
The facilities.
Oh, the facilities, yeah. So the most important thing people say is they just enjoy having somewhere dedicated that's quiet to work. With ultra-fast broadband, that's certainly been an attraction for a couple of the tenants who work overseas. And the coffee machine, colour laser, PO box, and a document destruction is everything else that we sort of offer as well. The real other important add-on is the boardroom that we're sitting in at the moment. So having somewhere professional that you can meet clients or suppliers or other groups has been quite useful.
And I just want to come back to the coffee machine. Is that obviously people can use that, but do you have someone here who would come in to make coffee for, say, if a business came in with 10 people using this boardroom?
So it's so simple to use that it's literally put a cup under and push a button.
That's it.
So if you're hosting a group, you can fill them up with coffee quite easily. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Fair Marketing and Fair Consultancy. What are they, and what's the difference between the two?
Okay, so the other part of Flair very much is my wife and I's respective businesses. So Rachel is Flair Marketing, and she's purely focused on strategic marketing. So when I say strategic marketing, I mean that she doesn't just look at rolling out a campaign with a flyer or a website. She looks at the business's total marketing strategy and tries to figure out and make sure that it's consistent in terms of their brand and the way they're presenting themselves to the market. For me, Flair Consulting is something different again. So I'm currently a business coach with the Ice House based in Auckland, and I run one of their programs here in the Bay of Plenty called the Owner Operator Program. I also have a number of my own clients that I'm helping with, with particular issues in their business.
Yeah. What sort of issues, Darren?
Well, they really range. I guess I'm working with a couple of different engineering companies, a law firm, and another foundation, and it does vary. So it can be quite specific that they need to market a particular product far better, far more effectively, and obviously I'd then bring Rachel in and to help with that. Or it can be just more around the owner of the business feeling like they're out of control, they're growing really fast, they don't know which opportunities to chase and what's going to best suit them strategically. So I just help them with a process of of assessing those opportunities and against their future vision for the business.
Right, that sounds quite exciting for them, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
well, it does. And often business owners are just so totally focused and driving forward, and the phone keeps ringing, and so they feel a bit like sometimes I think a dog chasing a car. And they see another car, they're chasing that one, and they see another car, they chase that one, and don't really understand what's going to happen when they get it.
How busy or how popular has that been this year? Because I know I've been to a few myself,
Yes.
and there's always a number of people there.
Yes, so Rotorix formed, it's our 5th birthday next month actually, and in the last year it's grown significantly. That's because of us putting a board in, creating a charitable trust, where before we were just a loose group of people putting events on. So we put a lot of structure in place, formally signed up sponsors, and really lifted our brand and profile, particularly using Facebook. Our Facebook community page has 300 local business owners and other professionals following us closely. So Rotorix has really gone from strength to strength.
That's good news, Darren. Now, just before we finish up, have you had any feedback from your clients that have come here to use the flea space?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's generally been positive. When they walk through the door, they realise that it's quite a professional operation, that we do run things very commercially. Often all of these are put together in other cities by just 2 or 3 people that know each other and need a dedicated space to work from, and then offer the facilities to other people, but don't really think about how it should come across from a professional standpoint. So the feedback has been generally pretty positive. Like any startup business, we only opened this in August last year, so we're still less than a year old, so there's been some wrinkles in the system.
There's always challenges, isn't there?
Yeah,
Darren?
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time, and good luck for the new business venture. And I'm
Thank you
sure
very
we'll
much.
catch up with you again. Thanks.
Great, thanks.
Well, in early August, Rotorua is going to be graced by a very special visitor. Now, she was an ex-Prime Minister of New Zealand and now works at the United Nations. Now, if you haven't guessed who that is already, Sue Gunn, who is the Rotorua Rotary Sunrise President, she's going to tell you who it is. So, Sue, welcome to the show. Who's the special visitor coming to our city?
Helen Clark, one of the most influential people on the planet, and the fact that she's a New Zealander is really exciting, and we're going to be bringing her here on Wednesday the 14th of August, and she's going to be giving a talk. It's a very informal setting at the convention centre.
Is there a theme or any particular topics that Helen's going to be discussing with you guys?
Well, we've put a title around it, calling it An Evening with Helen Clark, and we're actually going to be setting up at the Civic Theatre as the lounge setting, which Mike Stein is going to set up for us. So it's going to be like you're sitting in her lounge and having an intimate conversation with her. So people, before they arrive, will have an opportunity to ask some questions, and they will be put to her. And so she's not going to be talking about, life behind the desk at her office in New York. She's going to be talking more about her experiences and dealing with poverty and inequality globally in some of these third world countries.
Yeah, well, she's done pretty well since she left New Zealand. When she was Prime Minister and then lost to John Key, she was pretty much straight into her role at the United Nations, so she's done pretty well for herself.
Absolutely amazing. She's an awesome woman and a person that we should all respect and look up to. I mean, as a woman, she's really broken through the glass ceiling, and I think she's just amazing, and I really credit her for the work that she does and the energy that she has out there.
I think regardless of who you vote for or what political side you're on, I definitely agree with you. She's one of those women who empowers other women as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, if someone's wanting to come along, Sue, to this evening with Helen Clark, where can they get tickets?
They can get them online at Ticketmaster. They're $30 a ticket if you would like to have a seat there. And also, if you wanted to come along and join her on stage for supper afterwards, that's $85. And all the proceeds are going to go to Rotorua Youth Projects, and that was very important to Helen to see that we were supporting youth in Rotorua.
How did Rotary Sunrise get hold of Helen Clark to invite her to come to Rotorua?
Well, that's interesting because we were fortunate that we have Stevie Chadwick as an honorary member of our club, and of course she worked with Helen Clark. They were both in government together, and they're still very good friends. And one of our members, Don Golan, he just happened to mention it to Stevie that wouldn't it be cool to have someone of her stature come to Rotorua, and it just went from there. And she's actually coming over to visit her family, so it's not a formal visit, and she won't be making a lot of speeches anywhere else. So this is a great opportunity for the people of the Bay of Plenty to come along and hear about, you know, what she does as the administrator in United Nations Development Programme.
Wow, that sounds pretty exciting. Now, is the evening open to pretty much anybody? It's not just about business?
Oh no, I would encourage young people to come along, and I think that you'll probably find that the Rotary clubs in Rotorua would be keen to actually support some of the young people in coming along. So, you know, young people get along there and tap a few Rotarians, and they might find they get a sponsored seat. But it's very much about encouraging young people, especially young women, to come along and hear her story.
And it's obviously the opportunity to meet her in person as well. That'd be pretty exciting, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because people of her calibre have auras about them, don't they? They have a presence about them.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's part of the opportunity that, you know, she is going to be here, and that it's real, and she's going to be very close to people. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, Sue, that some of the funding is going to go towards youth projects. Have you guys got anything in mind already that you are looking at funding?
Well, we are very involved in youth projects in Rotorua, and some of the projects that we have are like the Outward Bound, so people can apply to go and do Outward Bound.
And Marlborough Sounds?
And the Marlborough Sounds, that's right. And we also support youth projects that are to challenge youth around the ages of 14, and they go into a camp over a long weekend. We have the help of the Army running that, and that's all about getting out of your comfort zone and trying some new things, getting up on the high ropes, you know, just talking about some challenging situations, and most young people really enjoy that. They can often then go on to be leaders within their school just from having that experience. We've also got what we call a RILA youth program, which that's for people that have probably finished their study and they're out there in the workforce and they're looking for some leadership opportunities. So that's a week-long program that we run here, and we're always looking for people to apply for that. So they can actually go to our website, which is Rotorua Sunrise.co.nz.
And our viewers can go to the same website to get more information about Helen Clark's visit?
Absolutely, they can go there.
Cool,
yes.
Sounds like a good night. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Neighbourhood Support do a wonderful job in our community by supporting our local police. And if you didn't know, they're actually based here at the brand new Rotorua Police Station. Now I'm going to catch up with Bruce Quigley today, and he has a very important message for shop owners here in the CBD. Hi Bruce, good to have you on City News. Now just recently the police have released some warnings for business owners in town. Can you explain in detail what they're about?
Yes, basically it's about security in stores, retail areas and in vehicles. Ensuring that properties are locked and secure so that people can't come in back doors and remove handbags, stock and everything while the workers are at the front of a retail shop. And also in regard with delivery drivers parking their vehicles unlocked, leaving valuables in their cab, and when they've gone into a shop to do a delivery they come back and find items missing.
You see that many times around the CBD where the courier driver stops in the middle of the road, which is obviously they need to do because there's nowhere to go, and their doors are wide open and they could be gone 30 seconds to a couple of minutes.
It could be, it depends on whether they have the person waiting to sign for the documents that they're delivering. What they really need to do is, yes, if they want to leave their vehicle unlocked, they take their valuables with them, or they have a secure spot in the vehicle where they can place them. And then that will alleviate the problem that they have when they come back and find their wallets missing, their mobile phones missing, and other valuable items gone.
Now, has this warning from the police gone out to all the various courier companies in town?
It went out to all the contacts that we have on our email crime alert system, and we send that out and advise them, and they hopefully will advise all their drivers.
Yeah. Have you got any feedback from them?
No, we haven't.
Not yet.
No.
No. So it's interesting to think that, that these opportunists do that, because you'd think businesses would keep their doors locked, but obviously.
Well, particularly in warm weather, they were opening back doors to have breeze blowing through, but unfortunately it also blows in the people who shouldn't be there.
That's true.
But in the colder weather that may alleviate that, but they still need to lock those doors. It may be an inconvenience for staff or delivery people coming to the door, having to knock and notify that they're there, but would they prefer the inconvenience or losing stock or handbags, wallets, mobile phones, which do go disappearing from out of the back of shops?
Do you have an idea how many of these CBD premises have been burgled or thefts?
No, I don't have any details of the numbers that have happened, but there was a spate of them occurring, so the police decided that it was necessary to get a warning out there. And it's a good practice to highlight the security of a property, whether it be residential or in the business retail business area.
Well, let's talk about residential properties. Obviously, the advice from neighbourhood support is always keep things locked, especially when you're maybe even out in the gardens.
That's right, yeah.
People, like we said, are opportunists.
Yeah, no matter where you are, you've always got to be security conscious. In your home, even when you go out and do your gardening, you shouldn't be leaving your house unlocked, because you're in the back, front door's unlocked, people can come in, walk away with all your valuable stuff, and you only notice it when you come back inside. So, very simple case of taking the key with you, locking the place, and ensuring that your property's secure. Also that if people are seen in your property, noting down their descriptions and reporting them to the police. That's another thing. It's not only the security of locking the property, it's also noting when suspicious people or activities are going on, and ensuring you get a good description of the people involved and letting the police know immediately.
What would your advice be to owners of property who do see suspicious behaviour? Because in recent weeks in local media they've mentioned that the police have taken up to half an hour to get to call-outs. What would your advice be to property owners?
I would still say contact the police immediately. Make sure you've got a good description of the people involved. The police have to cover the whole of the Rotorua area, which is a large area, and it means that some patrol cars may take a while to get there. If it's a life-threatening situation, they will prioritise it to be there quicker, but they've got to deal with other people's problems as well as yours, so that they'll get there as soon as they can. But what they do need is information, and when you dial 111, what you should be giving to the operator is a clear description of what you're reporting, a clear description of any suspect people involved, so that when the police come, they can act on that information immediately. Sometimes they may even act on it before they get to your place, because the description you've given is good enough for them to see the person walking down the road and they apprehend them before they get away.
Cool, now we're almost out of time, Bruce, but you obviously just moved over here to the new police station. How was the move for you?
Still finding bits and pieces. We haven't got so much storage room as we had, so we store it away from site here. So if somebody comes in for some bits and pieces, sometimes we might say, well, we might have to wait a day while we get it in from our other site.
All right, good stuff, Bruce. Appreciate your time and the services that you offer our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Alan Solomon talking with Bruce Quedley. Don't forget, if you have any news to share with us, give the station a call on 07 3488 984, or you can email news@tv.rotorua.co.nz. And to watch the show again, visit tv.rotorua.co.nz and click on latest news. Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team here at City News, Ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.